Number 4 says write cotangent of x in terms of sine of x. This is kind of an introduction to what we're going to be doing with the identities in just a little bit. If we wanted to take cotangent and rewrite it just so that it's in terms of sine, we can do that with a series of algebra steps. Okay, what we know to begin with is that cotangent of x is equal to the cosine of x over the sine of x. Okay, so here we're writing it in terms of cosine and sine. So I want to find a way algebraically that I can rewrite cosine in terms of sine. And this kind of goes back to something that's on the front that I kind of skipped over a while ago. This note that says that we have our commonly recognized forms of our fundamental identities in the box above, but throughout the chapter you must also recognize alternative forms of these identities. So it says, for example, there are two other forms of our original Pythagorean identity, sine squared plus cosine squared equals 1. These are the two alternate forms. This one would come from if I just subtracted cosine squared from both sides. The second one I would get if I subtracted sine squared from both sides. So for this reason, we have to be able to kind of recognize this original identity in two different forms. So that's going to be useful over here on number 4 that we're working on. If I use the Pythagorean identity, sine squared of x plus cosine squared of x is equal to 1. And if I solve this for cosine, that means I subtract sine squared. So I have cosine squared of x is equal to 1 minus sine squared of x. Okay, how do I solve for just cosine? I take the square root of both sides. So I would have cosine of x is equal to plus or minus the square root of 1 minus sine squared of x. So I've just basically here rewritten cosine in terms of sine. So I can take this expression, substitute that here in the place of cosine. So I would have the cotangent of x is equal to plus or minus square root of 1 minus sine squared of x over the sine of x. Okay, this is really, just lots of algebra skills that you're using here, but we have rewritten cotangent so that it's only in terms of sine. So if you had the sine of an angle, you could use this formula here to find the cotangent of the angle if you were asked for it.